I'm back. My downward spiral is still going since I still have not found my driver's license. And due to that, I had to go to the DMV and get a whole new one, which, like, I'm fine doing, you know? But, like, I would feel so much better if I knew where it ended up, or if I just, like, knew in my heart of heart that I lost it in the void of my house. I would feel better, but I don't. So I'm just massively paranoid that someone will steal my identity, which, like, sure, it's a low possibility for it to happen, but it's not zero, which just makes my anxiety even worse. And of course, everybody's trying to be so nice, like, don't be paranoid, it's okay, I'm like, saying it's okay doesn't make me feel any better. So, to try and just relax like I normally do, I figured why not redesign Paimon, aka Stolas' dad, which I will call him that since it's insanely difficult for me to say his actual name. Anyway though, Stolas' dad has a pretty good design out of most of the Goishas we've seen, which, like, good on him. He also has a completely different body type than the usual Goishas. As you can see, a lot of them are in the thin category. However though, Stolas' dad has more of, like, the Dorito body shape, aka similar to Tex, and aka similar to Ozzy. So his body type is different, but it's not that different. But I still appreciate the fact that he has a completely different body type than the other birds that we keep getting slapped in the face with. Anyway though, his outfit is more detailed and unique compared to his son, who's in more of a traditional British style, which will come back later, than demon royalty. Anyway, his colors are also very nice. They give off a sunset vibe, which works with Stolas' whole night theme. However though, my only real issue design-wise is his face, or mask thing, as one, it's way too small, which makes the marks on his face really hard to see, especially when zoomed out because they just look like squiggles, and two, it cuts off at the top of his mouth, which, like, in retrospect, it does make sense since it's built to look like a mask, since he's shapeshifted into an owl, and that's, like, not really what he actually looks like. But watching him talk like his mouth is attached at the bottom of the mask really throws me off. Plus, it's also really hard to see the actual mouth movement because of how much darker the inside of his mouth is, along with his feathers. Like, the colors are overlapping and it's a little bit difficult to see him actually moving his mouth, if that makes sense. Oh, also, the only thing that I don't particularly like about his outfit is his collar's color thing going on. It's mainly the weird dark line of orange. It's nowhere else on the design, and I'm pretty sure it's not golden fabric, because again, this color palette is, like, nowhere else on the design. But yeah, other than that, he's relatively fine. Though again, like usual, he is supposed to be Paimon, an actual Ars Goetia demon, and this is what he actually looks like. And while, yes, he is a shapeshifter, I personally see no reason for him to shift into an owl when talking to Stolas. Like, pretty much everyone would know what his base form looks like, so why change for the kids? I mean, baby making wise, sure, since Stolas is meant to be the Stolas demon from the Ars Goetia, but talking to him or meeting with him as a horned owl seems really weird, especially when he doesn't even care or even really remembers Stolas until the servant says his name. And I find it really weird that the only thing that clicked with him was, like, the fact that Stolas is an owl, which, like, sir, your form is already an owl. That should have locked you in on who you're talking to. Does he not know the forms that he's taking to speak to these kids? Like, it doesn't make sense. But that's all I really have on the design. It's relatively fine for a character that we won't see again unless in a different form, but for a flashback, it's fine. And weirdly enough, I kind of wish that Paimon's design was actually Stolas' design. Like, I really wish there were certain aspects from this design that was implemented into Stolas's, because I feel like Paimon looks more like Stolas than Stolas looks like Stolas, if that makes any sense. But yeah, overall, do I wish there was more of the actual Paimon's lore in the design? Yes. Am I mad that there's not? Weirdly enough, no, not really. Unlike the other Ars Goetia, I really don't care. So let's just get into the redesign, because I have a lot of fun lore, or well, more so geographic lore that turned into inspiration. So, yay! Okay. As you can see, I kind of went in a different path for him, but to be fair, again, he is supposed to be the Paimon, and while I completely understand him being an owl to make Stolas, I I still couldn't get over it. So yeah, I went more heavy with the actual lore of Paimon, which basically just describes him as a man with a very effeminate face. Other depictions have also described him as like a mix of animals with a human-like body and a girlish face. And weirdly enough, the girlish face comment seems to be the most present. So I kind of latched onto that and I made his eye mask into a full mask with more feminine features. But I did also incorporate owl-like designs, like having his head feathers go down further to where a beak/nose would be. His lips are slightly fuller and stained black, and his eyes have longer lashes. And instead of eyeshadow, I decided to use the same markings I made for my previous Stolas redesign to basically show what Stolas got from his father, because I kind of headcanon that Stolas' mother was a barn owl. So Stolas is like half horned owl and half barn owl, which is why he has the face that he does. But I also really wanted Stolas to like look somewhat like his father. But anyway though, I also made him buffer, mainly to show the difference between him and Stolas' builds. Because again, I kind of headcanon that Stolas looks a lot more like his mother than his father. But I also did it because I made Paimon more of a mix of birds, like a sprinkle of barn owl, horned owl, but also a hawk, mainly to showcase that Paimon doesn't just stick to one thing. Again, I want to be very clear on this. Paimon is only a full horned owl at the time of making Stolas, but when he's out and about running around, this is kind of the form that he takes on. But again, this is mostly just to show that Paimon doesn't stick to one thing unless it's for the making of his kids. I also kept his legs as bird legs, but made them fluffier and bigger since his description does have him drawn with webbed feet, though there's not really an explanation for that, and due to location-wise that comes to Paimon, I figured more predator bird-like feet would work better. Also, quick thing before we head into the outfit, so often Paimon is seen as being from or formed in the Middle East, as his name seems to have originated from a Middle Eastern pagan goddess, which isn't uncommon when it comes to demons or deities or goddesses, because a lot of occult or stories type things tend to be a huge game of telephone, so you never know where something fully originates from. However though, the more you look into the lore for Paimon, you will see he's described as being the king of the West, which funnily enough, Saudi Arabia is in West Asia, and even funnier, camels like the one he's riding originally were located in North America, aka kind of the West. But that was millions of years ago, but they are now primarily located in Africa, Asia, and Australia, which that one surprised me. But anyway, again, they are in West Asia. So all the West stuff and the camel and the Middle Eastern detailing / research led me into making Paimon's outfit more like the area he's mostly likely based around. So instead of the typical and kind of boring royal British style that they originally went with, I went with the royal dress of the Ottoman Empire. I really hope I said that correctly. And a few more fantastical things to go with the fantasy of the fact that this is hell and he is still a demon king. Also, please be hella nice to me if I say stuff wrong or not get like the 100% right thing when it comes to the parts of the fashion, because trust me, I researched like hell and had the hardest time finding stuff, specifically names for some of the ensembles that I chose. So again, be nice to me and bear with me. Plus, there was a lot of fashion history overlaps. So yeah, there is Turkish embellishments as well. But anyway, I put him in a button-up kaftan, but kept the bottom split open, mainly for easy movement due to his bird legs. I also made the buttons similar to Stolas' original jacket's buttons. Also for the lining of the kaftan that you can see with a more lighter color. At the time, that would be slightly more decorated, but I wanted to go for a more simpler aesthetic, mainly because I just wanted his theme of a sunset to shine through more. As for his pants, they're just simple gold cuff pants. Normally the pants are worn loose and are a little bit longer, but due to Paimon's bird feet and legs, I decided to go with loose cuffed pants. Now for his headdress. So I went with a keffiyeh. Sorry if I said it wrong. Instead of a turban, since Paimon's often depicted not wearing one and even wearing a crown, which is kind of primarily more of a woman style. The crown, not the keffiyeh. So I kind of wanted to combine the looks, since the royal women's headdresses were decorated with gold-plated detailing and jewels, which I did put pearls on the front of the crown. The rest of the crown is more of a fantastical design, where I took OG Paimon's owl feather horns and put them on his crown to give the illusion of his connection to Stolas. I also have it to where that part of the crown changes to fit with each kid that he visits. I also kept the symbol the same as the OG, mainly because Paimon's actual symbol is a lot, and I don't think it would fit in that like little section, and because I kind of like that it's pretty much the infinity symbol, which I weirdly feel works for someone like Paimon. Anyway though, the last of his outfit, I gave him a layered Ottoman coat with caped sleeves or winged epaulette. There's many names. This style of coat was mostly worn by rulers to give an imposing vibe, but I decided to make that part of the shoulder feathers instead, mainly again to go along with the whole fantasy part of the outfit, and because of him being a demon. Also, the collar part of the coat's design is based around the markings from his OG design's mask. Also, the sleeves of these particular coats are 1/4 cut sleeves, and they're usually just like a straight simple cut, but I made mine into an overlapping 1/4 sleeve and made the back part of other part of the sleeve into a cape. It can be done. I've done it before. It's not that hard. And the rest of the coat just has golden hymns and just speckles of stars on the jacket itself, and the symbol from his OG crown in the corner area of the golden hymn lines. The last part of his fit is a leather golden belt with gold-plated detailing charms. Again, that part of the design is mainly meant for women, but I really wanted to like incorporate a lot more femininity into Paimon's design, because of the fact that they constantly talk about how effeminate his face is. So, yeah. But anyway though, now color. Now, for Paimon's colors, I pretty much just used his OG colors from his original outfit onto this outfit, since I actually really do like them. The darker, more maroon reds, mixed in with the brighter oranges and yellows, is always a classic color combo, plus it really does add to the sunset vibes. I don't know if that's the original take with the OG design, but that's how I interpreted it, and I really liked that idea, so much so that I'm gonna spoil it now, but for the new redesigns that I'm going to be doing for Stolas and Octavia, including Stella, is having Stolas' color palette be dusk and Octavia's color palette be nightfall. As weirdly enough, the whole cautionary air thing got me thinking that each air's color palette, or like sky color palette, would be a specific moment of time during the night, and depending on how much closer your color palette is to the actual nighttime sky, would be an indicator onto how strong their abilities are going to be. And since Paimon isn't the Stolas, but is still technically a demon of knowledge, which is really funny though, because Paimon and Stolas do have a lot of overlapping in their abilities and like the abilities that they're able to give the people that they're summoned from. So it does make sense that they have some connection regarding like powers and overall theming. But since Paimon is not the Stolas, I found him having a more sunset color palette was just perfectly fine, as it's more inclined with his personality than abilities. Plus, he's also way more music focused in his demonic lore, so the whole galaxy thing doesn't need to be super present within his design. So yeah, I'm perfectly fine with Paimon being more sunset themed than a more nighttime aesthetic, which would like indicate power level, but that's more for the Stolas bloodline than the Paimon bloodline. So anyway though, yeah, I kept the OG colors. I did brighten them up a bit more and made them more kind of on the like maroon side, because there were a few colors that were just like purely red. I also put the ombre effect on the outside of his coat, since when I went back and watched the episode, I saw that they went with the more easy way of drawing Paimon, aka they just basically had his cape closed the entire time. The only real new colors that I added are his feather colors, which I decided to make him more brown toned, since horned owls are like primarily brown. Like they're speckled obviously, but they have an array of brown colors, but they have a pretty vast brown variety going on within their feather patterns than gray or black. I mean, they do technically have black in their feather markings, but not as much as you would think. But it's more of a speckling effect than anything, which is why there's the little black dots under his eyes. Plus, barn owls are the more likely bird to have gray or more dust-colored feathers, which again, I fully believe that Stolas has more of his mother in him. So yeah, and that is about it color-wise, and I'm pretty happy with how this turned out. I know it's not exactly a redesign, but since Viv made him the Paimon, I really wanted to draw his base form instead of the owl form he took to make Stolas. Also, I had a lot of fun researching for this design. I will admit, I had a super hard time finding a lot, but what I did find was super helpful, and in a weird way, this is gonna help me beef up more of my fashion history knowledge. So, blessing in disguise. Anyway though, this was a fun one. Next video will probably be about the new short coming out today, since apparently it's not a Verosika themed short, but another Chaz one. So, yay me, but also sad me, because I also wanted it to be about Verosika, so yeah, look forward to that on Wednesday, because hopefully by next Saturday, I will have Stolas, Stella, and Octavia's brand new redesigns finished by then. So yeah, get pumped for that, and some special news as well. It also looks like we have a new member to scream at today, Creepy Cryptid E60. Welcome to the madness. And also special thanks to Forfeit10 for the super thanks on my Katie Killjoy redesign video. Y'all should go watch that, by the way. I hear it's really good. On to the wall of teeth you go. Also, thank you to the other members. You have my whole heart. Everyone else, please remember to like, comment, share, and subscribe. Follow me on my socials right here, and if possible, hit that join button or super to join the Board of Teeth. It really helps out the channel and me. I hope you all have a super fantastic day, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!